My son and his wife have been staying with us for about a month while they prepare to move into a new place in May. My wife and I enjoy having them with us, and for the most part my daughter-in-law is lovely, but she is very messy. I'm retired from the army, and I've always run my house to a certain set of standards, and I expect them to be followed even by guests. My son has often described his wife as someone who prefers clutter, and she generally likes to have things where she can see them. Still, after I voiced my displeasure over the clutter in the guest bedroom they are presiding in and the guest bath they use every day, she did begin to decrease this amount of clutter, but not to the standards I would like in my home. My daughter-in-law still leaves her makeup out in the bathroom until she gets home in the afternoons because she runs out of time in the mornings to put them up. To her credit, she does clean everything once she gets home, but I don't appreciate having to stare at the mess for hours until she does get home. I tried handling it privately with my son in hopes he could talk to her. When he did agree, he mostly made excuses about her behaviour, equating it to an unstable home life growing up with incompetent parents and in the foster system towards her later teen years. I admit she's still quite young at 20, but my kids knew how to clean up after themselves before they were out of elementary school. My frustrations over the situation grew to head one day when yet again she left out makeup in the bathroom. In response, I took a trash bag and placed all the makeup and everything underneath the sink that was hers, and then in the guest bedroom every piece of clothing she owned, etc. I had no intention of actually throwing her belongings in the trash. Still, I wanted to show how serious I was on the matter, and I thought maybe handling it how I would have dealt with a teenager would have given her a bit of a wake-up call since she seemed to have missed out on it in her childhood. My daughter-in-law came home before my son, and when she discovered her things in the trash bags outside the front door, I could tell she was somewhat shell-shocked. I didn't yell, but I was stern when I explained that her behaviour has been very disrespectful and that if it continued, she would have to leave my house. My daughter-in-law didn't say much and just looked at me with wide eyes the whole time, and then, when I was done, she apologised and took all of her things back inside the room she was staying in. I could hear her crying, which seemed to be dramatic, and when my son got home, he apologised for daughter-in-law's messiness, but said that the way I handled the situation was too far. I told him it was my house, my rules. Now my daughter-in-law has been keeping all of her things in her car and won't even place them in the house. She has also become very reserved when I'm around, but is completely fine around my daughters and wife. So the mess stopped, but now there is an awkwardness in the house. You are the idiot. People who have gone through the foster system often come back home and find their stuff packed in trash bags and the social worker telling them it's time to move to the next house. You just set her back on working through that piece of trauma. Wow, I imagine that hurt in a way you can't even conceive of. But even if it wasn't for that aspect, you'd still be a major idiot. You are the idiot. Why are you spending hours in the guest bathroom staring at her makeup? Your standards seem unreasonable. It sounds like your daughter-in-law's untidiness is confined to non-communal areas of the house where she should have some expectation of privacy, and it doesn't sound like there's an actual hygiene risk involved. That was my first question too. Why are you in their bathroom? You have nothing better to do than stare at her makeup for hours. Why do you even snoop in the guest room? While it's perfectly understandable not to want guests to wreck your home, your standards sound impossible. You should apologise to this poor girl if you ever want a relationship with her or your future grandkids. Jesus, grow up, OP. I don't understand your confusion. Isn't going into the guest bathroom and staring at the mess while growing angrier by the minute everyone's favourite pastime for hours? You all are missing out. I've been in my guest bathroom now for 6 hours. It isn't really mine, though. I don't know whose, but I'm doing like OP. P.S. OP, I have some mild OCD around clutter, but my cure is simple. I don't go looking. I, 24 female, am pregnant and have been violently throwing up. I have a medical condition about it, and from what I understand, I will be miserable until I give birth. Everyone was warned. We finally thought I was a little less miserable and could hold it together, so we invited my husband's family over. His cousin, Maya, 23 female, is kind of a weirdo. Don't get me wrong, each to their own, but I think she's too much. She meditates at all hours of the day, for example, while everyone else is having dinner. We were over for Christmas and everyone was around the table laughing, and she was on the floor with scented candles doing yoga and meditating. She is also vegan and keeps forwarding me research papers to prove that my baby will be healthier if I stop eating meat. She even talked to me about a connection between eating meat and violently throwing up. I'm just not up for it, and I do feel like she thinks she's somehow superior because she does all of this. There are many examples of this mildly annoying behaviour. like stopping in the dead of winter while it snows in the middle of the street to meditate touching a tree. We had to wait 10 minutes in this freezing weather. As it stands, I do feel it's only fair to admit that she's not my favourite person. Anyway, they came over and after 20 minutes she was on the floor meditating with her scented candles. She brought them in a bag. I felt instantly nauseous as they smelt of heavy herbs like a spa would use. I asked her to stop or go upstairs, but she just didn't respond. Finally, her mom let me know Maya was focusing and couldn't speak. I asked again and said it was making me sick, so I went to open a window, God honestly thinking I was fine, but as luck would have it, I turned back, and somehow the movement was the final nail in the coffin. Maya had moved since I last saw her, and I barfed on top of her. After that she went mental, none of that meditation stuff, screaming that she had meat all over her. Jeez. Her mom helped her clean up while my husband helped me sit down and gave me some water, and went to clean the mess. He is the best. When Maya and her mom came back, her mom just said, "Let's get on with the apology so we can all move on." I told her I didn't believe I was at fault and I won't apologise because I asked twice but was ignored. Maya and her mom argued that she couldn't be disturbed when she meditated. We argued some more and they left, the rest of the family awkwardly leaving shortly after. I asked my husband and he just said, "I don't know, babe, I get you. I just think when you throw up on someone, you do say sorry, just to be polite." Am I the idiot? I think my temper got the best of me. I think your husband is a very wise man. I'm sorry I puked on you, but you can't say I didn't warn you. Next time a pregnant woman tells you that she'll be sick, believe her. So, everyone's the idiot. You for not apologising, her for meditating at a social gathering. Who does that? An idiot who wants attention would be my answer. Do that on your own time or don't go to social gatherings. I would have left her with her tree friend if she pulled that on me in the middle of winter. Geesh, Maya is something else, isn't she? And your husband should have blown out the candles after she ignored your request. Do not apologise. Don't see Maya for an extended period. She sounds exhausting. And stop giving in to her need to meditate everywhere. Normally, I'd agree with your husband and say that you should have apologised, but in this case, it's absolutely not the idiot because you didn't just happen to throw up on her. She literally induced you to do so through her own deliberate, self-absorbed actions. I'm guessing you have hyperemesis gravidarum, HG, a form of constant pregnancy-induced nausea that is absolutely awful and potentially dangerous. It's really serious. So it takes a special kind of absolute idiot to come into the household of someone with such condition and bring heavily scented anything, much less to freaking light-scented candles, and then proceed to play at some kind of self-indulgent, transcendent BS when you politely try to speak to her about it and pretend she can't hear you. She's not hard of hearing and she's not actually transcended to another bloody plane of existence. She's just ignoring you to feel special. And when you ignore the deeply nauseated pregnant lady with the hyperemesis issue, you get barfed on. You are 100% not the idiot, and your husband's cousin got exactly what she earned with her loathsome behaviour. To keep it short, I have 2 daughters, Sarah, tween, and Nora, teen, and I love them so much. Sarah likes to sing sometimes, like randomly in the living room or just anywhere we are. I honestly have no problem if she does it in her room, but she does it when we're with her too. Her singing is not good. She's not going to be an artist, so it doesn't matter much. She just does it for fun. But her singing is not good. It hurts so much to say this as a mother, but her singing is just annoying and noisy. I love that she has fun singing while doing stuff, but it's not very fun for us. I tell her sometimes to stop it or lower her voice, but she does it again hours later anyway. I don't think the problem is exactly with her singing. She just has a unique voice when she sings. It isn't easy to change and could even be impossible. She started singing Jackson's "I Want You Back" yesterday, and I couldn't stand it anymore, so I told her to stop singing. She refused, so I warned her that she was going to be grounded, and we kept staring at each other for a while. Then she went into her room angry. My husband doesn't know what to say or do about this, and Nora agrees that her singing is annoying. She's now very upset, and I'm rethinking this. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your daughter doesn't get to disturb everyone in the house, and it sounds like that's what she's doing. It's the same as making noise or playing music loudly and disturbing everyone. Even if it is her passion, as some are saying, she still doesn't get to disturb the peace of the house. You aren't asking her not ever to sing, just not to do it when it disturbs everyone. You are the idiot. This could be your child's hobby, profession, extracurricular in school that could get the rewards that you could be oh so proud of. But instead you're threatening to ground them and make them feel ashamed over something they once enjoyed. Imagine if you were threatened to be grounded as a kid over a harmless hobby you enjoyed. Grab some headphones or tell them to sing outside so they can be as loud as they want, and tell them you're sorry for saying those things to them, and tell them they have a lot of potential and you can see them being an amazing, famous singer as an adult if they put in the work. If you have the money, then get them singing lessons. They obviously have a passion for it. Don't snuff it out. Family is supposed to be our backbone, not a part of society that breaks us down every step of the way. I work from home as a customer service representative for a bank, which is not that impressive and I don't make that much. As such, my wife is the one that pays bills in the household. She makes 4 times more than me per year, and she additionally supports me if I need finances. Don't get me wrong, I am eternally grateful for that. I try to give back to her in other non-financial ways. Although my current job is easy money, I find it mundane and the job scope is also limited. I have really wanted to start up my own business for a long time. However, my plans have diverted as of now, and I've been inquiring into the realm of investments and trying to take classes to make fruitful investment decisions. The classes I'm attending, however, provide a beginner package which, albeit a bit pricey, $4,500 plus, comes with extensive guidance and access to their premium app. They meticulously choose trending business ventures and initiatives that I can invest in, so basically they do the hard part for me. The price is also counting in the swift and unhindered advice of experts. So anyway, I mentioned this to my wife, and she seems reluctant and thinks they're scamming me even though I've shown her their accreditations and reviews. She's also asked me to look at cheaper trading platforms, and yes, I am aware they exist, but the thing is the portfolios are often low risk, and it takes a long time to get a return on my investment. For this one, the company itself guides the investors through carefully selected high-return investments. Wife said she needed to think about it and never got back even though it had been a month. However, her friend started her own home baking business selling confectionery and cakes and whatnot, but then my wife had no problem giving her $3,000 as seed money for the business. That's what made me feel excluded and annoyed. And when I confronted my wife, she told me that she was concerned about me investing so much money, and for her, the risk was what seemed to halt her. This is where I might be the idiot. I called her out and asked how come she wasn't worried about her friend's home business failing. She angrily retorted, that is out of goodwill and support for her friend, and I asked why she couldn't give me the same in the name of goodwill. Then she started laying out the whole list of how she's helped me and that I'm overanalyzing this one situation. We're still tense from the ordeal, which is why I need impartial judgment. Even if it is a singular event, is what she did not unfair, or at the very least she could have rejected it directly than kept me waiting, right? You are the idiot. She's more than pulling her weight, and you are, at minimum, getting sold if not outright scammed. If these people had the secret to investing, they wouldn't need $4,500 from you. They would just be printing money non-stop. The difference is what you're asking her to put money in is a bunch of guys promising they won't screw you over. Her friend's venture is her friend directly making a product and selling it herself. One is a scam and it ain't the cakes. Your wife gave $3,000 to her friend because she has faith in her friend. Her friend has likely already done a fair bit of work before she even thought of going into a full business. Unlike you. Exactly this. Also, OP, you are bringing gold digger vibes. Are you with your wife for love or for the money she makes and the fact she supports you in all ways? Plus, if your wife pays for it all, save your money, even if minimum wage. You'll have enough after 2 or 3 months, depending on where you are. Go and apologize to your wife, and for the love of God, I hope she made you sign a prenup. I, 40 male, and my wife, 32 female, have been married for 3 years. We live in a nice urban area in a condo that I purchased before marriage. What I love most about my current area is that I seldom have to drive. I work in a managerial role in a larger company, and generally like my job, especially with the financial stability it provides. My wife worked after high school for some years before returning to college, and she's been job hunting since last year. Last month, she had an interview set up a couple of hours away from our home. According to Google Maps, it's about 1 hour and 43-minute drive, but that could be worse depending on traffic conditions. When she asked if she could go to it, I said it couldn't hurt if she was interested, but we'd have to talk about the distance and what to do. Long story short, she got offered the job and she wanted it badly. The salary is well above the average for her degree. It's close to what I'm making, and I've been in this business for years. She wants to move now. She says that she can't afford to drive nearly 4 hours a day with her other responsibilities. At first, I told her I'd think about it, but I broke the news to her 2 nights ago and told her no. She asked why my job was more important, and I responded that it's because it's stable and all but guaranteed that I can continue working there, while there were no guarantees with hers. She asked me to meet her halfway and move to about a 30-minute drive from there so I could be at work and home in about 2.5 hours of driving a day, which I refused. Then she said I could get a job at many companies near her workplace for a competitive salary, but I just didn't want to change jobs. I asked her why she wouldn't look for something closer to us, at which point she started stonewalling me. Was this kind of an idiot thing to do? I might have gotten her hopes up in relation to the potential of working at that job. But on the other hand, I feel like asking me to sell our condo and uproot our lives for her first job offer is kinda silly. You are the idiot. You shouldn't have told her to apply if you didn't want to talk about what happens if she gets it. You're going to have to move if you have kids anyway. Why not get started now so it's less of a shock when you do? Rent your condo out and buy a house. You could even bank her whole salary for 6 months while saving for a bigger house. That way you'd have a little more time to adjust and she would be happy knowing you would be moving closer soon. Plus, if her job doesn't pan out, then everything's fine. This exactly. It's not like you are the idiot for not dropping everything on the spot. You are the idiot because you said you'd talk about solutions but are, in fact, fundamentally unwilling to compromise. So she can either find work in your little walking distance bubble or screw herself, is that it? Are you bitter that her first job would pay her nearly as much as you get after years of working? Because it seems like you are, and you're simply looking for an excuse to ruin this for her. You sound like what no one is looking for in a partner. Unsupportive, inflexible, entitled, and selfish.